Charter 1. Constant thirst. Have you noticed that no matter how much water you drink, your mouth still feels dry? As if your body is craving something that it can't seem to get enough of? You sip water more than usual, maybe even carry a bottle with you everywhere you go. And yet, that sticky, parched sensation doesn't go away. This isn't ordinary thirst. It's not the kind you feel after a workout or on a hot day. This is something deeper, more persistent. And if you've felt this kind of thirst for days, weeks, or even longer, it could be one of the first alarming signs that your blood sugar levels are dangerously high, and possibly that diabetes is silently developing in your body. Here's what's going on beneath the surface. Your body is an incredible machine, and one of its vital tasks is maintaining balance, especially when it comes to blood sugar. Under normal conditions, the hormone insulin helps move glucose sugar from your bloodstream into your cells, where it's used for energy. But when your blood sugar rises too high, often because your body isn't producing enough insulin or isn't responding to it properly, that sugar starts to build up in your bloodstream. And that's when problems begin. Your kidneys now take on the burden of trying to remove this excess sugar. But they can't simply eliminate it on their own. They need water. A lot of water. So, in an attempt to flush out the extra glucose, your kidneys start pulling water from everywhere they can. From your blood, from your tissues, from your cells. And what does that do? It leaves the rest of your body dehydrated. That's why you feel thirsty, even if you've been drinking plenty of fluids. Your body is trying to fix a chemical imbalance, and the only way it knows how is by making you crave more and more water to compensate for the loss. This process becomes a vicious cycle. The more sugar in your blood, the more your kidneys work to flush it out. The more they flush, the more water they take. The more water they take, the thirstier you become. And here's the catch. Drinking more doesn't stop the cycle, because unless the blood sugar level is addressed, the loop just keeps going. Let's bring it into real life. You're at work, and by mid-morning, you've already emptied your water bottle twice. You've had to use the restroom 3 times, and you're starting to notice how dry your lips feel. You go home, still drinking fluids, still feeling off. At night, you wake up, not once, but maybe twice, just to drink water. And when you think about it, this has been happening for days, or maybe weeks. At first, you brushed it off. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's the spicy food you ate, maybe it's nothing. But what if it's something? What many people don't realize is that this constant, unrelenting thirst, medically known as polydipsia, is often one of the earliest signs of diabetes. And because it feels so ordinary, it's easy to overlook. But ignoring it could be a grave mistake. Left unchecked, high blood sugar can lead to serious long-term complications: nerve damage, kidney disease, vision loss, heart problems. And all of it can start with something as simple and seemingly harmless as needing to drink more water than usual. Now imagine this going on for months, maybe years, without you realizing the true cause. The damage being done to your blood vessels, your eyes, your nerves, all while you're just trying to quench an invisible thirst. That's the silent danger of high blood sugar. It doesn't always come with loud symptoms. It creeps in. It whispers. And if you're not paying attention, it wins. It's also important to consider how this symptom can affect your life. Beyond the health risks, constant thirst can interfere with your daily routines. You might find yourself avoiding long trips without water. You may start sleeping poorly because you're waking up too often to drink or use the bathroom. It affects your focus, your comfort, your confidence. And all the while, the true source of the problem remains hidden unless you recognize it for what it is. But there is hope. The first step is awareness. If you're experiencing this persistent thirst, especially if it's accompanied by other symptoms like frequent urination, fatigue, or blurred vision, it's time to take it seriously. Get your blood sugar tested. Talk to a doctor, because catching it early makes all the difference. You might just be thirsty, or you might be standing at the very edge of something far more serious. But you don't have to fall over that edge. You don't have to let it take control. You have the power to listen to your body and act. This thirst isn't just in your mouth. It's in your cells, your blood, your organs, crying out for balance, for stability, for help. Don't silence that voice. Don't ignore what your body is trying to tell you, because that glass of water in your hand could be more than refreshment. It could be a sign, a warning, that now is the time to take your health seriously, before the thirst turns into something far more dangerous, before it's too late. Not 2. Frequent urination. Have you found yourself going to the bathroom more than usual, even when you haven't been drinking much water? Do you wake up in the middle of the night just to urinate, sometimes more than once? At first, you might brush it off. Maybe it's just the colder weather. Maybe you drank tea or coffee. But then it keeps happening, day after day, night after night. It starts to affect your sleep, your concentration, your daily routine. And slowly, a question begins to form in the back of your mind. Why is this happening? What you might not realize is that this seemingly simple symptom, the frequent urge to urinate, could be your body's early alarm system, warning you that your blood sugar levels are too high. Here's the science behind it. Your kidneys play a vital role in filtering your blood and maintaining the right balance of fluids, salts, and glucose. When your blood sugar is normal, this process is smooth and efficient. But when sugar levels spike too high, the kidneys struggle to keep up. Glucose starts spilling into your urine because your kidneys can no longer reabsorb it efficiently. This process is called glycosuria, when excess sugar ends up in your urine, dragging water along with it. As a result, your bladder fills up more often, and you feel the need to urinate frequently. And this isn't just a mild inconvenience. We're not talking about a couple of extra trips to the bathroom here and there. This is a pattern, a cycle, a disruption to your daily life that refuses to go away. You may notice that you're making bathroom visits multiple times during the day, and especially during the night, when your body should be resting and recovering. This condition has a medical term, polyuria. And it's not just annoying, it's a red flag. It means your body is trying desperately to rid itself of excess sugar, and in the process, it's draining you of hydration, nutrients, and energy. The real danger is that most people don't take this sign seriously. They assume it's temporary. They blame it on anxiety, cold weather, or maybe a new habit of drinking more fluids. But when urination becomes excessive, more than 7 times in a day, or waking up 2 or more times at night to pee, it's a warning sign you can't afford to ignore. Because behind this symptom is a bigger story. Your body is losing control of its ability to manage sugar, and this loss of control is dragging down your health with it. And frequent urination doesn't come alone. It brings other problems with it, like dehydration. Because as you urinate more, you lose essential fluids. And as you become dehydrated, you start feeling unquenchable thirst, which in turn makes you drink more and urinate more. It's a frustrating cycle that feeds itself, one that can make you feel like your body is no longer your own. But there's more. Frequent urination can also lead to electrolyte imbalances, where essential minerals like sodium, potassium, and magnesium are flushed out too quickly. This can make you feel weak, lightheaded, even dizzy. Your muscles may cramp. Your heart may beat irregularly. All of this because high sugar is silently sabotaging your system. And the most tragic part? Many people live with this for months, even years, without connecting the dots. They adapt. They keep bottles of water nearby. They know where every restroom is in the places they visit. They think it's just a quirk, something small. But it's not. It's a symptom of a system on the edge of collapse. Think about how this affects your daily life. You're in meetings, social gatherings, or traveling, and you always have to excuse yourself to use the restroom. Your sleep becomes fragmented, interrupted by those middle-of-the-night urges. You stop drinking water in the evening just to avoid getting up, which only leads to more dehydration. You feel tired all the time, but never rested. And still, you may not realize that high blood sugar is behind it all. What starts as a bathroom inconvenience becomes a gateway to greater problems: uncontrolled diabetes, kidney strain, and even urinary tract infections, as the sugar-rich environment becomes a breeding ground for bacteria. For men, it may also be mistaken for prostate issues. For women, it might mimic hormonal changes. But underneath it all, the root cause may still be the same: blood sugar that's far too high. The key to stopping this spiral is awareness. If you're experiencing frequent urination, especially along with other signs like constant thirst, fatigue, blurred vision, or sudden weight loss, it's time to take action. This is your body pleading with you, not through pain, not through screaming, but through patterns, through repetition, through subtle shifts in your normal behavior. You don't need to be afraid, but you do need to pay attention. Frequent urination may seem harmless, but it could be the first thread in a much bigger unraveling. Fortunately, you can catch it. You can test your blood sugar. You can talk to your doctor. You can make lifestyle changes that help bring your body back into balance. Because when your body is telling you something over and over again, it's not being annoying. It's being protective. It's trying to save you. And it's time to listen before it becomes something you can't ignore, before it's too late. 3. Unexplained weight loss. You're eating regularly, maybe even more than usual. You haven't changed your diet or your exercise routine. In fact, if anything, you've been snacking more often, feeling hungrier, and craving sweet or starchy foods. But the number on the scale keeps going down. Your clothes are fitting looser. People are telling you that you look thinner. At first, you might feel flattered. You might even feel relieved. But then comes the confusion. Why are you losing weight when nothing else makes sense? This is not normal. This is not healthy weight loss. This is unexplained weight loss. And it can be one of the most subtle yet alarming signs that your blood sugar levels are dangerously high and that diabetes may already be taking hold of your body without you even knowing it. Here's the reality of what's happening inside. Your body's primary source of energy is glucose, sugar that comes from the food you eat. Under normal conditions, insulin acts like a key, helping that glucose move from your bloodstream into your cells, where it's converted into energy. But when your blood sugar is high, either because your pancreas isn't producing enough insulin or because your body has become resistant to it, that sugar can't enter the cells. Instead, it stays trapped in your bloodstream. So your cells, starved for fuel, begin to panic. They look for alternative sources of energy, and that's when your body starts breaking down fat. But it doesn't stop there. If the situation continues, your body begins to break down muscle as well. You are literally burning your own body to survive, using up fat stores and muscle mass in a desperate attempt to feed your cells. The result? You lose weight, sometimes rapidly, sometimes over weeks or months, without even trying. And this is not the good kind of weight loss. It's not the result of healthy eating or physical activity. It's a red flag. Your body is cannibalizing itself, slowly deteriorating from the inside out, all because sugar can't get where it's needed. And what makes this symptom so deceptive is that it can feel like a positive change. We live in a culture that praises weight loss, that associates thinness with health. So when you drop 10, 15, or even 20 pounds without effort, it might seem like a blessing. But make no mistake, in this case, it's a warning sign, a signal that something is deeply wrong. Unexplained weight loss also brings with it a host of other problems. You may begin to feel weaker. Your energy might crash midday. You might notice your clothes hanging off you, or that your face looks thinner, more drawn. Your muscles may feel softer, and your stamina may decrease. What's happening is not just cosmetic, it's metabolic collapse in slow motion. But that's not all. When your body starts breaking down fat at a rapid pace, especially without proper glucose regulation, it produces byproducts called ketones. In high amounts, ketones can be dangerous, leading to a serious and life-threatening condition known as diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA. This condition is most common in people with type 1 diabetes, but it can also occur in people with type 2 who are undiagnosed or poorly controlled. Symptoms of DKA include nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, confusion, and even coma. And it all starts with high blood sugar and the body's desperate effort to compensate. This is why early detection matters so much. If you're experiencing weight loss that doesn't make sense, and especially if it's paired with other symptoms like extreme thirst, frequent urination, or constant hunger, you need to take action. You need to get your blood sugar checked. You need to speak with a healthcare professional. Because catching high blood sugar before it turns into full-blown diabetes can change the course of your life. This isn't about vanity. It's not about how you look in the mirror. It's about how your internal engine is functioning or failing to function. Your body is trying to tell you something in the only way it knows how, through sudden changes, through unexpected signals, through transformation that feels mysterious, even alarming. And yes, unexplained weight loss might seem harmless, even welcome, but in the context of high blood sugar, it's a silent scream, a sign that your body's systems are out of sync, that your cells are starving in a sea of sugar they can't access, that the fuel is there, but the engine is broken. Don't ignore it. Don't write it off as a lucky break. Your weight is dropping, not because you're winning, but because your body is struggling. And unless you listen now, the consequences could be devastating. Unexplained weight loss is not a gift. It's a warning, one that could be telling you that diabetes isn't just a risk, it's already here. 4. Extreme hunger. You just had a full meal, a proper, satisfying plate with everything your body should need. But barely an hour passes and your stomach growls again. You feel restless. Your hands twitch toward snacks. There's an emptiness in your belly that no food seems to fill. And the more you eat, the more it returns, like a cycle you can't escape. This isn't ordinary hunger. This is something deeper, more relentless, more alarming. And it could be one of the most urgent signs that your blood sugar is dangerously high, and that diabetes may already be quietly affecting your body. This symptom is known as polyphagia, or excessive hunger. It might sound harmless. After all, who hasn't felt ravenous from time to time? But when your hunger becomes frequent, unmanageable, or disconnected from actual physical need, it's time to pay attention. Because your body may not be craving food, it may be crying for balance. To understand why this happens, we need to look at how the body normally processes food. When you eat, your body breaks carbohydrates down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. That glucose is supposed to travel into your cells with the help of insulin, a hormone that acts like a key, unlocking your cells so they can take in the sugar and use it for energy. But if your insulin isn't working properly, either because your body is resistant to it or not producing enough, the glucose can't get into your cells. Instead, it builds up in your blood, causing high blood sugar. Your cells, however, are still empty. They're starving, not because there's no food, but because they can't access it. And when your cells are starving, they send a signal to your brain. We need more food. Your brain responds by making you feel hungry, again and again and again. So you eat. And the cycle repeats. The sugar builds up in your blood, but your cells remain unfed. Your hunger intensifies, and it's not just a craving, it's a biological panic, a survival signal. You're eating constantly, but your body thinks it's starving. This is why extreme hunger in the presence of high blood sugar is so dangerous. It tricks you into thinking you need more fuel, when what you really need is balance and blood sugar control. Now imagine this happening every single day. You wake up and eat breakfast, but by mid-morning, you're already famished. You eat a snack, then lunch, then another snack, then dinner. Yet, no matter how much you eat, the hunger comes back. It's not just physical, it becomes mental and emotional. You feel irritable, you can't focus, your mood shifts, you feel frustrated with yourself for always eating, but powerless to stop. And all the while, you don't realize your body isn't malfunctioning. It's simply trying to survive under the pressure of rising blood sugar. Many people write this off as stress eating or a fast metabolism. Others blame their cravings on poor discipline. But extreme hunger caused by high blood sugar is not about willpower. It's a metabolic emergency. It also has consequences. Constant eating, especially in response to blood sugar imbalances, often leads to unhealthy food choices. Processed snacks, sugary drinks, high-carb meals. These foods spike your blood sugar even higher, creating a dangerous feedback loop that only worsens your condition. You're trapped in a cycle of rising sugar, starving cells, and endless hunger. And the more this cycle continues, the more damage it causes to your blood vessels, your nerves, your pancreas, and your overall health. Over time, this can escalate to full-blown diabetes, obesity, insulin resistance, and even organ failure, all starting from a symptom that feels so ordinary, yet is anything but. Ask yourself, have you felt hungrier than usual lately? Do you find yourself eating more often, but never feeling satisfied? Do you feel panicked if you miss a meal, shaky, weak, or anxious? Are your cravings intense, especially for carbs or sugar? If these experiences sound familiar, your body may be trying to warn you. Extreme hunger is not just an inconvenience. It's a loud signal that something is wrong with your metabolism, that your cells are not getting what they need, that your insulin response is broken, and that unless you intervene, your health could spiral out of control. But there is hope. This is your chance to act. If you catch the signs early, if you get your blood sugar tested and begin making changes through diet, exercise, and medical guidance, you can regain control. You can stop the damage before it's too late. You can silence the hunger by fixing the system that's causing it. Don't ignore this feeling. Don't normalize a hunger that never ends. Your body is smarter than you think, and it's telling you something important. Listen, before this hunger consumes more than just your meals, before it takes your health, your energy, and your future. 5. Blurry vision. One day, the world around you begins to lose its sharpness. You squint at your phone, struggle to read street signs, or find yourself rubbing your eyes more often than usual. At first, you think it's eye strain. Maybe you've been working too long at the computer, maybe you need new glasses, or maybe you just didn't sleep well. But this isn't occasional fuzziness. This is different. It's persistent. It's uncomfortable, and it feels like you're looking through a foggy window that won't wipe clean. What you may not realize is that this seemingly small inconvenience, blurry vision, could be one of the earliest and most dangerous signs that your blood sugar is too high. Your vision isn't failing by chance. It's being affected by something happening inside your bloodstream. Something silent but serious. Let's break it down. When your blood sugar rises beyond normal levels, it causes changes in the fluid balance throughout your body, including inside your eyes. The lens of your eye, which helps focus light and images onto the retina, is extremely sensitive to fluid levels. High blood sugar causes the lens to swell with fluid, altering its shape. And when the shape of the lens changes, so does your vision. Images become distorted. You might have trouble seeing fine details. Objects may look out of focus. Your vision may fluctuate throughout the day. Clear one moment, blurry the next. But here's the truly terrifying part. This is only the beginning. If high blood sugar continues unchecked, the damage goes far beyond a blurry lens. It begins to affect the tiny blood vessels that feed your retina, the delicate tissue at the back of your eye responsible for processing visual information. These vessels are extremely fragile, and elevated sugar levels cause them to swell, leak, or become blocked altogether. This condition is known as diabetic retinopathy, and it's one of the leading causes of blindness in adults around the world. In the early stages of diabetic eye damage, you may not feel pain. You may not even realize it's happening. The changes are subtle. A slight blur here, a flickering light there. Maybe you blame it on tiredness or screen time or dry eyes. But beneath the surface, your retina is being starved of oxygen. Tiny bleeds may begin. Scar tissue can form, and if left untreated, this can lead to permanent vision loss. And it doesn't stop there. Prolonged high blood sugar can also increase your risk for glaucoma, where pressure builds up in the eye, damaging the optic nerve, or cataracts, where the lens becomes cloudy, leading to dull or faded vision. In both cases, your eyesight gradually deteriorates, and in some instances, it can happen quickly and without warning. But what makes this sign even more dangerous is how easy it is to ignore. We get used to blurry vision. We adjust. We change the font size on our phones. We drive slower at night. We assume it's just age catching up with us. But when your blood sugar is high, this isn't just a visual inconvenience. It's a serious medical symptom. Your eyes are trying to tell you something that the rest of your body hasn't noticed yet, that your glucose levels are out of control, and your blood vessels are under attack. Think about it. Your eyes are one of the most sensitive parts of your body. They respond to changes in blood flow, fluid retention, and pressure faster than almost any other organ. So when your vision starts to change for no apparent reason, your first response should not be to ignore it. It should be to investigate it. Have you recently noticed difficulty reading books or menus? Do you find yourself adjusting the brightness on your screens more often? Do you feel like your vision goes in and out of focus during the day? These may seem minor, but they could be your first warning signs of a much larger problem. The good news is that if caught early, the effects of high blood sugar on your eyes can often be reversed or managed. When glucose levels are brought back under control, the swelling in the lens can subside, and your vision may return to normal. Even some early stages of diabetic retinopathy can be treated or slowed with proper intervention through medication, laser therapy, and lifestyle changes. But the first step is recognizing the symptom for what it really is: a red flag, a message from your body, a call to action before it's too late. You only get one set of eyes. Don't let high blood sugar steal your vision, silently, gradually, until you can no longer see what matters most. Because that moment of blurriness you keep ignoring, it could be the first sign that the clock is ticking on your sight. And once it's gone, it may never come back. Such 6. Fatigue and weakness. You slept through the night, but you wake up already tired. The day drags on like a weight pulling you down. Your body feels heavy, your limbs sluggish, your mind clouded. Simple tasks seem harder. Concentrating is a struggle. Even things you once enjoyed now feel like a chore. You keep telling yourself it's stress, or that you're just overworked. But deep down, something feels off. Like your energy is slipping through your fingers, and you can't figure out why. What if this exhaustion isn't just lifestyle related? What if it's your body screaming from the inside that your blood sugar is too high? This overwhelming fatigue isn't ordinary tiredness. It's not fixed by coffee, a nap, or even a full night of sleep. It's deep, persistent, and unshakable. And for many people, it's one of the earliest and most debilitating signs of high blood sugar and diabetes. Here's the reality. Your body needs glucose to function. Every cell, in your brain, your muscles, your organs, runs on sugar. But sugar alone isn't enough. It has to get into the cells to be used. That's where insulin comes in. Think of insulin as a key. It unlocks the doors to your cells and allows glucose to enter and fuel your body. But when your insulin isn't working properly, either because your body is resistant to it or because your pancreas isn't producing enough, glucose builds up in your blood instead of being used as energy. So even though there's an excess of sugar in your bloodstream, your cells are starving. They're not getting the fuel they need to function. And the result? Crushing fatigue. It's like trying to drive a car with a full tank of gas, but the fuel lines are blocked. The energy is there, but your body can't access it. That's what happens when your blood sugar is too high. Your system is flooded with glucose, but you feel like you're running on empty. And the longer this continues, the worse the fatigue becomes. Your muscles weaken, your reflexes slow down, your motivation disappears. You feel emotionally drained, physically powerless, and mentally foggy. It's a full body shutdown, happening slowly, day by day, while you try to push through it with willpower. But it's not laziness. It's not just a long week. It's a biological malfunction. And unless you address the root cause, your blood sugar, no amount of sleep or rest will fix it. Fatigue caused by high blood sugar also tends to come with other signs. You may notice that you're getting more headaches. You might feel lightheaded when standing up. You may become short-tempered, anxious, or depressed. That's because high glucose levels don't just affect your muscles. They affect your brain chemistry too. When your brain isn't getting enough energy, your mood, focus, and memory all begin to suffer. You may find yourself forgetting things, zoning out, or struggling to hold conversations. And yet this symptom is easy to ignore. We live in a world where everyone is tired. We're constantly told to push harder, drink more caffeine, hustle more. So when high blood sugar slowly drains our energy, we assume it's just part of life. But this level of tiredness is not normal. When you feel like you're dragging your body through the day, like your muscles are heavy and your thoughts are slow, that's not a mindset problem. That's a medical warning. If you're feeling exhausted despite doing all the right things, eating meals, sleeping properly, limiting stress, and you still don't feel like yourself, then it's time to consider what's happening inside your body. Especially if this fatigue is paired with other symptoms like thirst, frequent urination, blurry vision, or extreme hunger, it's a strong indicator that your blood sugar may be out of control. And this fatigue doesn't just ruin your day, it ruins your life. It keeps you from doing the things you love. It holds you back at work, at home, and in relationships. It steals your confidence, your productivity, your joy. And most painfully, it does all this silently. You're not bleeding, you're not coughing, you don't look sick. But inside, your body is struggling to keep up. And every day you ignore it, the damage deepens. But there is hope. This kind of fatigue is reversible. When you bring your blood sugar under control through diet, exercise, medication, and lifestyle changes, your energy begins to return. Your cells get the fuel they need. Your mind clears. Your body reawakens. But first, you have to listen. If you're constantly tired and nothing seems to help, it's not just fatigue. It's a warning siren from your body that something is wrong. Don't wait until it becomes worse. Don't accept tiredness as your new normal, because you deserve to feel alive again. You deserve to feel strong, focused, and energized. And that journey begins by facing the truth behind the fatigue, before it turns into something you can't recover from. 7. Slow healing of wounds and cuts. You get a small scratch on your arm, nothing serious, or maybe a minor cut on your foot, a tiny nick from shaving, or a blister from wearing new shoes. Normally, you'd expect it to scab over in a day. 7. Slow healing of wounds and cuts. You get a small scratch on your arm, nothing serious, or maybe a minor cut on your foot, a tiny nick from shaving, or a blister from wearing new shoes. Normally, you'd expect it to scab over in a day or two, heal in a week, and disappear completely in no time. But something strange happens. Days pass and it still looks red. Weeks go by and it hasn't fully closed. It might even look worse, more irritated, more swollen, possibly infected. You clean it, you apply ointment, but the healing never seems to finish. What's going on? This isn't just slow healing. This is your body struggling against something bigger. And it's one of the most dangerous and overlooked signs that your blood sugar is too high. At first glance, a cut that takes a long time to heal may not seem like a big deal, but this seemingly minor issue is actually a serious warning that your blood vessels and your body's ability to repair itself are being damaged by excess sugar. Here's how it works. When your blood sugar is consistently high, it begins to cause damage to the blood vessels, especially the tiny ones, known as capillaries, that are responsible for delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues throughout your body. These capillaries are essential for healing. They carry white blood cells to fight infection. They deliver proteins to rebuild tissue. They bring nutrients to regenerate skin. But when blood sugar is elevated, these vessels become stiff, narrow, and fragile. The blood flow slows down. The delivery system becomes broken. And suddenly, even the smallest wound becomes a battlefield your body can't win. That's not all. High blood sugar also impairs the function of your immune system. It weakens your white blood cells, the very cells that fight infection and help your body recover. So not only are the nutrients failing to reach the site of injury, but the soldiers meant to defend it are exhausted or absent. This leaves wounds vulnerable to infection, inflammation, and further tissue breakdown. This is especially true in the feet and lower legs, where circulation is already weaker in most people. That's why many diabetics end up with foot ulcers, wounds that never heal, that grow deeper and more painful with time. In severe cases, these untreated wounds can lead to gangrene, and the only option becomes amputation. It all starts with slow healing, and it can end in permanent disability. But it doesn't happen overnight. The signs are there. A small cut that takes 2 weeks instead of 3 days, a burn that won't fade, a scab that keeps reopening, skin that feels thin, weak, or vulnerable. These are all your body's way of saying, I'm trying to recover, but I can't. Something's wrong. Most people don't link this symptom to blood sugar. They assume they're just aging, or their immune system is a little weak. But when healing slows down, especially alongside other signs like fatigue, blurry vision, excessive thirst, or frequent urination, it becomes part of a larger picture. A picture of uncontrolled blood sugar, silently wreaking havoc. It's not just surface-level damage, it's internal destruction. Every cut that won't heal is proof that your body's systems are struggling. Every scab that lingers is evidence of deeper damage, and if you ignore it, the consequences only grow. because this isn't just about wounds. It's about how your body handles injury, any injury. It's about how your heart recovers, how your organs repair, how your skin regenerates. When your healing slows down, everything slows down. And that's a terrifying sign of what high blood sugar can do, not just today, but for the rest of your life. The good news? It's not too late. When blood sugar is brought under control, healing can return to normal. Your immune system can bounce back. Your circulation can improve. The next time you get a scrape, your body can respond the way it's supposed to, with strength, speed, and resilience. But first, you have to recognize the sign. If your wounds are taking longer to heal, don't ignore it. Don't explain it away. Don't assume it's nothing. That little cut might be small, but the message it carries is enormous. Because every slow healing wound is a silent signal. A signal that your body's defenses are down, and that your blood sugar may already be doing damage you can't see. It's time to listen before a small wound becomes a lifelong scar. Or worse, a door to something you can't come back from. Dajar 8. Tingling or numbness in hands and feet. It starts subtly, maybe a light tingling in your toes, a pins and needles sensation that comes and goes. You shake your foot, change your position, hoping it's just temporary, but it returns. Sometimes in your fingers, sometimes in both feet. Sometimes it's not just tingling, it's numbness. A strange lack of feeling, like part of your body has gone to sleep and refuses to wake up. You might even notice a slight burning sensation or sharp stabbing pain. At first, it's easy to dismiss. Maybe your shoes are too tight, maybe you slept funny, but as time passes, the sensation grows, and now you're left wondering, this is not just an annoying nerve issue. It could be one of the most dangerous signs that your blood sugar is too high, and that diabetes has already started damaging your nervous system. This condition is known as diabetic neuropathy, a form of nerve damage caused by prolonged high blood sugar levels, and it often begins in the extremities, especially the feet and hands. That's why many people with undiagnosed or poorly managed diabetes experience tingling, numbness, or burning pain in their limbs long before they're aware of what's really going on inside. Let's break down why this happens. Your nerves are like electrical wires, carrying messages between your brain and every part of your body. For them to function properly, they need healthy blood flow and a stable chemical environment. But when your blood sugar is too high, the small blood vessels that nourish your nerves, especially the delicate ones in your feet and hands, become damaged. They narrow, they weaken, and they stop delivering the oxygen and nutrients that nerves need. As a result, those nerves begin to fray, misfire, or die off entirely. And when the nerves go, so does the feeling. This damage can take many forms. For some, it starts with a mild tingling that eventually becomes unbearable burning or stabbing pain. For others, it's the opposite. A gradual loss of sensation, so severe that they can no longer feel heat, cold, pressure, or even pain. That's when the danger truly escalates. Because when you lose feeling in your feet or hands, you stop noticing injuries. A cut goes untreated, a blister becomes infected, a sore turns into an ulcer, and before you realize it, a small wound becomes a life-altering emergency. In severe cases, diabetic neuropathy leads to permanent disability. Many people lose toes, feet, or even entire limbs, all because they didn't feel an injury that would have been obvious to anyone else. And it all begins with a tingle, a numb spot, a quiet, creeping signal that something is very, very wrong. What makes this symptom even more alarming is how invisible it is. You might look perfectly fine. No one can see the nerve damage happening under your skin. And since it often comes on slowly, you may not even recognize how bad it's gotten until it's too late. Some people notice symptoms at night when lying down. Others feel it after standing or walking for long periods. For some, the pain is so severe it keeps them from sleeping. For others, the numbness is so complete they can't tell when they've stepped on something sharp. Whether it's mild or severe, consistent or occasional, tingling and numbness in your hands and feet are not normal. They are warning signs. They are your body's way of telling you, your nerves are in danger, your blood sugar is doing damage, and time is running out. But there's still hope. Diabetic neuropathy is often preventable, and in the early stages, even reversible. When you bring your blood sugar under control, you protect your nerves, you improve circulation, you give your body the chance to heal and regain what was lost. The key is not to ignore it. Don't wait until numbness turns into wounds you can't feel. Don't wait until the burning turns into permanent pain. If you're experiencing tingling, numbness, or strange sensations in your extremities, especially when combined with other signs of high blood sugar, take action now. Because that tingling feeling in your toes? It's not just a random glitch. It's the flickering light of a nerve struggling to stay alive. And it's telling you, this is your chance to act before the damage becomes permanent. Number 9, frequent infections. You get a cold, but it lingers longer than usual. A small skin irritation turns into a swollen red rash. A minor urinary tract infection becomes a recurring problem. Cuts seem to get infected quickly. Your gums feel inflamed, or you find yourself dealing with yeast infections far more often than before. At first, these might feel like random events, just bad luck or a weakened immune system. But over time, a pattern starts to emerge. Your body is constantly under siege, and no matter how many medications or remedies you try, the infections keep coming back. This isn't just poor immunity. This is a red flag, one of the most urgent signs that your blood sugar is too high and that your body's natural defenses are being silently dismantled by it. High blood sugar affects every corner of your immune system, from the way your white blood cells respond to invaders to how well your tissues heal after injury, to your body's ability to recognize and fight off bacteria, fungi, and viruses. It's not just that your body is slower to react. It's that in many cases, it can't react properly at all. Let's break down what's really happening. When your blood sugar levels are elevated for long periods, your white blood cells, the frontline soldiers in your immune system, become sluggish and ineffective. These cells are supposed to detect, attack, and destroy harmful pathogens like bacteria and viruses. But in a high glucose environment, their activity slows down. They don't respond as quickly, they don't reach the site of infection in time, and they often fail to eliminate the invader completely. That's why infections in people with high blood sugar tend to last longer, spread faster, and become more severe. At the same time, high blood sugar feeds bacteria and fungi. Glucose is a source of fuel not just for your cells, but for harmful organisms as well. In areas where sugar accumulates, like the skin, the bladder, or the mouth, bacteria and yeast thrive. That's why people with high blood sugar are prone to skin infections, gum disease, urinary tract infections, and yeast overgrowth. And once these infections take hold, they can become stubborn, recurring, and resistant to treatment. One of the most common examples is recurrent yeast infections, especially in women. Candida, the fungus behind most yeast infections, grows much faster in a sugar-rich environment. Women with high blood sugar may notice frequent itching, irritation, unusual discharge, and discomfort that doesn't go away with standard treatment. In men, this can also appear as itching or irritation around the groin area. Again, it's not just about external hygiene, it's about internal chemistry that favors infection. Another frequent issue is urinary tract infections, UTIs. The urinary tract is particularly vulnerable in individuals with high blood sugar because the excess glucose in the urine creates a breeding ground for bacteria. UTIs become more common, more painful, and in some cases more dangerous, especially if they spread to the kidneys or bloodstream. Even your gums aren't safe. People with uncontrolled blood sugar often develop periodontal disease, a serious gum infection that can lead to tooth loss. You might notice bleeding when you brush, swollen gums, or persistent bad breath. All of these are warning signs that your mouth is under attack, not just from plaque, but from sugar-damaged tissue and poor immune response. And let's not forget the skin. From boils and abscesses to fungal rashes in warm, moist areas of the body, skin infections become more common and harder to treat. They itch, they spread, they leave scars. And without proper care, they can become open wounds that resist healing and invite even more dangerous bacteria inside. Why is this so dangerous? Because infections, when left untreated or poorly managed, can spiral into life-threatening conditions. A simple infection in the foot can turn to an ulcer. That ulcer can become gangrenous, and if the infection reaches the bloodstream, it can lead to sepsis, a deadly immune reaction that kills thousands of people every year, many of whom had undiagnosed diabetes. The worst part? Many people don't connect the dots. They treat the infection. It goes away. Then another one comes, and another. Over and over again, their body keeps fighting. But without fixing the root cause, high blood sugar, it's a losing battle. But you can stop it. If you've been experiencing frequent infections, whether they're small or serious, recurring or resistant, you need to ask the deeper question: why is this happening? Especially if it's paired with other signs like fatigue, excessive thirst, numbness, or slow wound healing, it's time to get your blood sugar tested. Early diagnosis of diabetes or prediabetes can save your life and spare you from months, even years, of suffering from infections that never seem to end. Your body is built to defend itself. It's strong, resilient, and intelligent. But when blood sugar rises too high, it becomes vulnerable. Not because it's weak, but because it's overwhelmed. Don't let infections become your normal. Don't let your immune system fight alone. Because every recurring infection is a signal from your body, a desperate whisper that says, "I can't do this without your help anymore." Listen now. Before the next infection becomes the one your body can't beat. Josh 11. Irritability and mood swings. You're fine one moment, then suddenly you're not. You snap over something small. You feel overwhelmed by simple decisions. 1 second, you're irritated by everyone around you. The next, you're filled with guilt or sadness. You begin to notice that your reactions feel out of character, even unpredictable. The people close to you start walking on eggshells. You tell yourself it's just stress, maybe lack of sleep, but deep down, something doesn't feel right. And what if it isn't just emotional? What if these intense mood swings and sudden irritability are being driven by something inside your body? Something silent, invisible, but dangerous. Because the truth is, irritability and mood swings can be a powerful warning sign that your blood sugar is too high and your brain is struggling to keep up. Most people think of diabetes as a physical condition, something that affects your weight, your energy, or your digestion. But what many don't realize is that blood sugar directly affects the brain. And when sugar levels spike or crash, it can wreak havoc on your mental and emotional stability. Here's how it happens. Glucose is the brain's main source of fuel. Every thought, every emotion, every decision you make is powered by the sugar circulating through your bloodstream. But just like a car engine can misfire when fuel delivery is inconsistent, your brain suffers when blood sugar is out of balance. When blood sugar is too high, it becomes harder for glucose to effectively reach your brain cells. Inflammation increases. Neural pathways slow down. Hormonal signals, especially those involving dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals responsible for mood regulation, become disrupted. The result? Sudden changes in mood, irrational anger, sadness without cause, anxiety, frustration, even emotional numbness. You might notice that you have a shorter fuse than usual. Small things set you off. You feel overwhelmed even by tasks you normally handle well. You cry more easily, or feel emotionally flat. You experience moments of confusion, irritability, or even aggression that seem to come out of nowhere. And then, just as quickly, it fades. You feel like yourself again, until the cycle repeats. This roller coaster of emotion isn't random. It's often tied directly to blood sugar fluctuations, especially in people whose levels are consistently high. The spikes and drops send your nervous system into disarray, and you pay the price not just physically, but emotionally. But the emotional cost doesn't end there. Chronic high blood sugar can also lead to fatigue, brain fog, insomnia, and low-grade depression, all of which further erode your patience, confidence, and emotional resilience. Over time, you may start to feel like you're losing control over yourself, when really, your body is just trying to send you a message. And it's not just internal. These mood changes affect your relationships too. You may start to isolate. You may notice tension with coworkers, arguments with loved ones, or growing distance between you and the people who care. You may say things you don't mean, or pull away when you most need support. If left unchecked, this symptom, like all the others, doesn't just disappear. It can grow worse as your blood sugar continues to rise. And over time, the chronic stress it creates can lead to even more health problems: high blood pressure, sleep disorders, weight gain, and worsening insulin resistance. But here's the good news. Once you recognize the pattern, you can take action. If you've been feeling emotionally unstable, if your patience has worn thin and your reactions feel unfamiliar, if people around you have noticed a change in your mood, don't ignore it. Don't chalk it up to just a bad week or stress at work. Check your blood sugar. Talk to a doctor. Start tracking how you feel in connection with what you eat, how you sleep, and how active you are. Because these mood shifts aren't just part of who you are, they could be the very thing that alerts you before something worse happens. Your mind and body are deeply connected. And sometimes, the loudest cry for help from your blood sugar doesn't come through fatigue or thirst. It comes through the way you feel, the way you react, and the way you treat others. So listen carefully. Behind that irritability, behind that outburst, behind that sadness, may be a body begging for balance and a second chance to feel like yourself again. 12. Unexplained weight loss. You haven't changed your eating habits. You're not working out more. In fact, you're eating even more than usual, hungry all the time, snacking between meals, waking up at night craving food. Yet somehow, you're losing weight. Slowly at first, just a pound or two. Then suddenly 5, then 10. Your clothes begin to feel baggy, your belt cinches tighter. Friends and family begin to comment, asking what your secret is. But deep down, you know this weight loss isn't right. It doesn't feel like a healthy transformation. It feels off. And that gut feeling might be right, because this kind of weight loss can be one of the clearest and most dangerous signs that your blood sugar is out of control. When your body can't use sugar properly, either because you're not producing enough insulin or because your cells aren't responding to it, the glucose from your food remains trapped in your bloodstream. It never reaches your cells. It's like filling your car with gas, but the fuel line is broken. The energy is there, but your body can't use it. So what does your body do when its main fuel source is locked away? It starts to break itself down. Your body first turns to fat reserves for energy. That's why the weight begins to fall off. But when that's not enough, and it rarely is, your body begins to consume muscle tissue. Yes, muscle. The very thing that keeps you strong, that protects your organs, that powers your movement. Your body is eating itself, silently and relentlessly, just to keep going. You may not feel it happening at first, but eventually the effects become obvious. Your arms and legs grow thinner. Your cheeks begin to sink. You feel weaker no matter how much you eat. And the scale keeps dropping, even when you're doing nothing different. This isn't weight loss. This is systemic failure. Your body is starving, not from lack of food, but from lack of access to that food. That's why you feel hungry all the time. Your brain knows the cells are starving, and it sends signal after signal to eat more. But no matter how much you eat, your blood sugar stays high, and your cells stay empty. This vicious cycle is one of the most serious and silent early signs of diabetes, especially type 1, but it can also occur in type 2 when the disease goes unchecked. You may feel like your appetite has increased, but your weight continues to fall. You feel more tired than usual, despite eating more. And your body begins to weaken, first subtly, then aggressively. The worst part? Many people see this as a good thing. Society praises weight loss. You might even feel relieved at first, like you're finally getting in shape. But this isn't a result of healthy fat burning. This is a result of catabolism, your body's emergency process of breaking itself down just to stay alive. If you ignore this symptom, the consequences can be devastating. Unexplained weight loss caused by high blood sugar can lead to extreme fatigue, muscle wasting, dehydration, weakened immunity, increased risk of infection, dangerous electrolyte imbalances, and in severe cases, diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. DKA is a medical emergency that occurs when the body starts producing high levels of blood acids called ketones, a byproduct of burning fat for energy. This is common in people with untreated or undiagnosed diabetes and can lead to nausea, vomiting, confusion, coma, or even death if not treated immediately. So ask yourself, are you losing weight without trying? Are you constantly hungry, yet always tired? Do you look smaller but feel weaker? Are your clothes fitting looser but your energy levels are crashing? If yes, don't ignore the signs. Don't celebrate the scale dropping without knowing why, because not all weight loss is healthy, and some can be a sign of something seriously wrong. The good news? This damage can be reversed. If caught early and treated properly, your body can stabilize, your weight can return, your energy can rebuild. But it starts with awareness. Unexplained weight loss is not a miracle. It's not your body finally giving in to willpower or diet. It's your body breaking down in silence. It's a red flag, waving hard, begging to be seen before it's too late. Listen to it, because sometimes the shrinking body is only the surface, and underneath, the system is crying out for help. Prediabetes 13, irritability and mood swings. You're snapping at people you care about. You're losing patience over small things. One minute you feel fine, the next you're overwhelmed, anxious, even angry, and you can't explain why. You try to calm yourself down, but it's like your emotions have a life of their own. You might feel mentally foggy, unusually sensitive, or even depressed. And while you tell yourself it's just stress or lack of sleep, deep down, something feels off. What if this emotional roller coaster isn't just in your head? What if it's your blood sugar silently pulling the strings? Irritability and mood swings are not just personality quirks. They are real physiological symptoms of high blood sugar, and often one of the most overlooked early signs of diabetes. Your brain, just like your muscles, runs on glucose. It's your brain's main source of energy. When blood sugar levels are stable, your brain can regulate mood, concentration, and emotion. But when those sugar levels spike or crash, as they often do in people with undiagnosed or uncontrolled diabetes, your brain chemistry is thrown into chaos. Let's break it down. When your blood sugar is too high, it causes inflammation in the brain. This disrupts normal signaling between brain cells and affects the production of mood-regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. These are the chemicals responsible for helping you feel calm, happy, and emotionally balanced. But when sugar floods your system, their balance is disturbed. As a result, you feel more anxious, more irritable, more reactive, sometimes without any logical reason. At the same time, your body is under stress. High blood sugar puts pressure on your kidneys, nerves, and blood vessels, and that physical stress translates into emotional stress. Your body knows something is wrong. Your internal systems are struggling, and that fight creates a mental toll. You might not be aware of what's happening at the cellular level, but your mood feels the effects. Mood swings due to high blood sugar can also be related to sugar crashes. When your insulin overcompensates for a spike in glucose, your sugar levels can suddenly plummet, and your brain is deprived of the fuel it needs. This causes feelings of panic, sadness, fatigue, or rage. You might feel fine one moment and on the verge of tears or fury the next. And until you eat again, or your sugar levels stabilize, you remain emotionally unsteady. It's not just in your mind, it's in your chemistry. This is why many people with high blood sugar or early diabetes are mistakenly diagnosed with anxiety or depression. They might even be prescribed medication. But the root problem isn't emotional, it's metabolic. Have you noticed that your mood changes quickly and without warning? Are you more sensitive to criticism? Do you feel more irritable, frustrated, or emotionally drained, especially when you haven't eaten in a while or after consuming sugary foods? Are you feeling mentally foggy, forgetful, or unable to concentrate? These aren't just emotional symptoms. They are biological warning signs that your blood sugar may be unstable, and your brain is suffering as a result. The emotional effects of high blood sugar can also have real consequences. It affects your relationships, your work, your self-esteem. You begin to feel like you're not yourself anymore. And the longer your sugar remains unbalanced, the more intense and frequent these mood swings become. Eventually, they can evolve into chronic depression, anxiety disorders, or emotional burnout. But there is hope. When blood sugar is brought under control, through proper nutrition, exercise, stress management, and if needed, medication, your brain begins to heal. The inflammation reduces, the neurotransmitters rebalance, and the emotional stability you thought you lost slowly returns. So if you're noticing frequent mood swings, if you're unusually irritable or anxious, If you feel emotionally off, even when everything around you seems normal, don't ignore it, because your mood is not betraying you. It's trying to warn you. Your emotions might be the first part of you to notice that your blood sugar is out of control. Listen now, before the damage becomes permanent, not just to your body, but to your peace of mind. 14. Poor concentration, brain fog. You sit down to work, but your mind won't cooperate. You read a sentence 3 times and still can't absorb it. You start a task and forget halfway through what you were doing. Conversations become harder to follow. You lose track of thoughts mid-sentence. It's like your brain is swimming through molasses, slow, hazy, disconnected. You're not sleepy, you're not distracted, you're just not sharp. And no matter how hard you try to snap out of it, your focus stays cloudy. This frustrating mental fog might not just be stress or aging. It could be one of the clearest signs that your blood sugar is dangerously high. This condition, often called brain fog, is a real and often early symptom of high blood sugar or developing diabetes. And while it's not always talked about, it can deeply affect your ability to function, think clearly, and stay emotionally balanced. Your brain, like every other organ in your body, depends on glucose to function properly. It's the brain's main source of energy. But when your blood sugar is consistently high, the delivery of glucose to the brain becomes irregular and chaotic, and that throws everything out of sync. Let's break it down. When your blood sugar spikes, your brain is flooded with glucose, far more than it can use efficiently. This flood leads to inflammation and oxidative stress inside your brain. Over time, these imbalances damage the connections between neurons, interrupting how your brain sends and receives information. The result? You feel disconnected, unfocused, slow, and confused. Even worse, high blood sugar disrupts important chemicals in your brain, like dopamine, serotonin, and acetylcholine, which are responsible for memory, attention, and emotional regulation. That's why brain fog doesn't just feel like distraction. It feels like mental disorientation. You might forget names, dates, where you left your keys. You may even feel like you're in a dream, aware, but not fully present. Then there's the crash. After your blood sugar spikes, your insulin tries to lower it quickly, sometimes too quickly. This sudden drop in glucose, known as hypoglycemia, leaves your brain starved for fuel. And a starved brain can't think. You become irritable, sluggish, unable to concentrate. Your body may be sitting in a room, but your mind is nowhere to be found. And these cycles can happen multiple times a day, especially in people with insulin resistance, prediabetes, or undiagnosed diabetes. Every blood sugar spike followed by a crash chips away at your mental clarity. You start blaming yourself. You question your intelligence, your motivation, your sanity. But the truth is, this isn't your fault. This is your brain reacting to an unstable internal environment. You're not lazy. You're not stupid. You're not just getting older. Your brain is struggling, and it's trying to tell you. Another important factor is dehydration, which often accompanies high blood sugar due to frequent urination. When you lose water, your brain cells shrink slightly, and your mental performance drops. You feel foggy, dizzy, and disoriented. And again, you might reach for coffee or try to push through. But unless you address the root cause, it doesn't get better. The scariest part, if left unchecked, this fog can evolve into more serious conditions. Chronic high blood sugar is strongly linked to cognitive decline, memory loss, and even Alzheimer's disease, sometimes referred to as type 3 diabetes. What begins as a little forgetfulness or zoning out can, over time, become permanent damage to your brain's memory centers. But the good news is this: brain fog caused by high blood sugar is often reversible. When you stabilize your blood glucose through balanced eating, regular movement, stress reduction, hydration, and sleep, your brain begins to clear. The fog lifts, the focus returns. The mental energy you thought was gone begins to reawaken. So if you're struggling to focus, if you feel like you're in a haze that won't lift, if your sharpness, memory, and mental performance are declining, even though you're trying your best, don't ignore it, because every cloudy thought might be your brain whispering for help. And that whisper could be the first clue that your blood sugar is not just high, it's hurting your mind. Listen to that fog before it becomes your new normal, before your best ideas fade into the static, before your brain forgets who it used to be. 15. Nausea or vomiting. It starts subtly. A strange twist in your stomach. A wave of unease that rises out of nowhere. You tell yourself it's just something you ate. Maybe the food was too rich, or the timing was off. But this nausea keeps returning. Sometimes mild, sometimes strong, and at other times, overwhelming. You lose your appetite. You begin to avoid meals. The very thought of food makes you uncomfortable. And then come the episodes of vomiting. Violent, draining, and without clear cause. You're confused. Why is this happening? What if this isn't just a stomach issue? What if this is something deeper? Something your body is screaming, but you haven't yet understood? Because nausea and vomiting, when they persist without explanation, can be one of the most urgent and overlooked signs that your blood sugar is dangerously high, and that your body is on the verge of metabolic collapse. It may seem surprising, but high blood sugar, especially when severely elevated, can have direct and destructive impact on your digestive system. And in extreme cases, this symptom isn't just discomfort. It's a warning that your body could be slipping into a life-threatening state known as diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. Let's understand the breakdown. When your body doesn't have enough insulin, either because it's not producing it or because your cells have become resistant, the glucose in your blood remains unused. And without access to glucose, your body starts to burn fat for fuel. That may sound like a clever survival trick until you realize what it produces. Ketones. Ketones are acidic compounds, and in small quantities, your body can handle them. But when glucose levels are critically high and insulin is unavailable or ineffective, these ketones build up fast, making your blood dangerously acidic. The body can't function in that environment. The blood's pH drops, your organs struggle, your stomach rebels, and nausea sets in as a natural reaction to this internal chemical chaos. This is not just a feeling of queasiness. This is your body trying to expel the imbalance, trying to reset itself. But it can't, because this isn't about food poisoning or indigestion. It's about toxic buildup inside your bloodstream. That's why nausea and high blood sugar isn't isolated. It often comes with intense thirst, abdominal pain, shortness of breath, a fruity or sweet odor on the breath, confusion, fatigue, frequent urination, rapid heartbeat, and eventually vomiting. Vomiting in this scenario isn't just a symptom, it's a danger signal. Because with each vomit, you're not only losing stomach contents, you're losing vital fluids and electrolytes that your body desperately needs to flush out the excess sugar. This leads to dehydration, which worsens the blood sugar problem. Your kidneys start to fail in their filtering function. Your brain becomes foggy. Your heart strains to maintain rhythm. It becomes a vicious, dangerous cycle. And the worst part? Many people don't realize what's happening. They assume it's food poisoning, or stress, or a virus. They try to sleep it off, sip some tea, wait it out. But when high blood sugar is the real cause, waiting is not only ineffective, it can be deadly. The onset of diabetic ketoacidosis, the condition most often associated with this symptom, can happen within hours. And it's one of the most serious diabetic emergencies. If left untreated, it can lead to unconsciousness, organ failure, and death. Even outside of a DKA crisis, nausea and vomiting can be signs of a slower, ongoing problem, something called gastroparesis, which occurs when high blood sugar damages the nerves that control the stomach. This slows down digestion drastically. Food sits too long in the stomach, causing bloating, pain, nausea, and eventually vomiting. It's common in people with long-term uncontrolled diabetes and often worsens over time. So how do you know when your nausea is more than just a passing issue? Ask yourself, does the nausea come and go without a clear cause? Is it worse after skipping meals or after sugary foods? Is vomiting becoming more frequent or intense? Are you also feeling weak, thirsty, or dizzy? Have you lost your appetite even when you're hungry? If the answer to any of these is yes, especially in combination, it's time to take it seriously. Don't brush it off. Don't wait until it passes. Don't assume it's nothing, because your body is giving you a chance to catch this now before it spirals into something much more dangerous. The truth is, your stomach is trying to protect you. It's trying to force out the chaos that's quietly spreading through your bloodstream, but it can only do so much. It's up to you to act, to listen to the signs, to get tested, and to intervene. Because sometimes the most violent symptoms are the ones that offer you the clearest path to survival. And behind that wave of nausea might be the life-saving truth that changes everything. Trot 16. Sweet-smelling breath. You notice an odd, fruity scent when you breathe, almost like apples or nail polish remover. At first, you think it's nothing. Maybe your mouthwash, maybe something you ate. But the smell doesn't go away. It lingers. It returns again and again, especially when you haven't eaten for a while. Friends or family may point it out gently, or you may catch it yourself in the morning or after exertion. But what you might not realize is this seemingly harmless breath odor could be one of the most serious red flags that your blood sugar is dangerously high. That sweet, fruity, or acetone-like smell isn't from a mint or a meal. It's a signal that your body is in a state of crisis, a condition that can be life-threatening if ignored. That scent is the byproduct of ketones, acidic chemicals that your body starts producing when it runs out of usable insulin and begins to burn fat for fuel instead of sugar. And when ketones rise to dangerous levels in your blood, it leads to a medical emergency called diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. Let's break it down. Normally, your body uses glucose, sugar, for energy. That glucose comes from the food you eat and is transported into your cells with the help of insulin. But when your blood sugar is high, and your body either can't make enough insulin or can't use it properly, the glucose just stays in your bloodstream. Your cells are essentially starving for energy, even though sugar is everywhere. So your body is forced to find another energy source: fat. Burning fat for energy releases ketones into your bloodstream. A small amount of ketones isn't dangerous. Athletes on low-carb diets may produce a few. But when blood sugar is extremely high and insulin is absent or ineffective, ketones can build up quickly. These ketones make your blood acidic, disturb your body's chemical balance, and begin to poison your system from within. One of the first signs that your body is overproducing ketones is that your breath starts to smell sweet, or like acetone, the primary ingredient in nail polish remover. It's not a pleasant sweetness. It's sickly, unnatural, chemical, and most importantly, it's your body's cry for help. This symptom is most commonly associated with type 1 diabetes, but it can also appear in people with type 2 who are in a hyperglycemic crisis. And it is not a symptom to take lightly, because when sweet breath appears, it often means that your body is already sliding into diabetic ketoacidosis, a condition that can lead to severe dehydration, organ failure, coma, or death if not treated quickly. But sweet-smelling breath doesn't always come with obvious symptoms. Sometimes it appears before vomiting, fatigue, or confusion set in. Sometimes it's the first clue. Other times it's part of a dangerous combination: excessive thirst, constant urination, nausea or abdominal pain, fruity or sweet-smelling breath, shortness of breath, rapid heartbeat, extreme fatigue or drowsiness. If you're experiencing any of these, especially with that unusual breath odor, it's not just a weird smell. It's a medical alarm. You need to get your blood sugar tested immediately. And if ketones are present in your urine or blood, seek emergency medical care. And while sweet-smelling breath is a warning of immediate danger, it's also a reminder of long-term damage. If your blood sugar is high enough to push your body into fat-burning mode and ketosis, then it's high enough to cause nerve damage, kidney failure, vision loss, and heart problems in the months and years to come. But the power is in your hands. Recognizing this symptom, understanding what it really means, could save your life. So if you've noticed a strange sweetness in your breath, if someone says you smell fruity or like nail polish, if you're also thirsty, tired, nauseated, or breathing faster than usual, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it. Don't wait. That scent is not innocent. It's not random. It's your body exhaling its distress, trying to signal you before it's too late. Because sometimes the sweetest breath carries the deadliest message, and your awareness of that message could be the very thing that saves your life. You've just walked through 16 signs, 16 warnings your body may already be giving you. Some are subtle, easy to brush aside. Others are loud, disruptive, impossible to ignore, but none of them are random. None of them are without meaning. Each one, from constant thirst to sweet-smelling breath, is your body's way of speaking to you, pleading with you to pay attention. High blood sugar is not just a number on a test. It's a slow, silent force that can damage your nerves, your heart, your kidneys, your eyes, and even your mind. It doesn't announce itself with flashing lights or sirens. It comes in the form of fatigue. It whispers through mood swings. It hides behind frequent infections. It creeps into your life disguised as everyday discomfort, until one day it doesn't hide anymore. But here's the truth. You are not powerless. Your body is not betraying you. It's warning you. And the earlier you listen, the more you can do to reverse the damage, to regain your health, to take back control. Diabetes is a serious condition, but it is not a death sentence. With the right attention, action, and support, it can be managed. In many cases, it can be prevented entirely. But everything starts with awareness. So, listen to your body. Track the symptoms. Get your blood sugar checked. Talk to your doctor. Make the changes now, before these signs evolve into something irreversible. Because sometimes the quietest signals are the ones that save you.